That record holds now with Hamilton leading by
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Grand Prix Podcast. I'm Elton, this is Andy.
Hello!
And I'm rushing this because there is so much to cram into this episode. So get your tape recorders ready because you're going to want to keep this one forever and ever, I feel.
It's true. It might even be like a double cassette one.
It could be, yes. Side A, side B.
Remember those big... No, not even that. Like the actual 2 physical cassette tapes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Side C, side D. Side 3 or side 4, yeah. Gonna need it, guys. You're gonna need it because I feel this is a full fat episode.
It better be.
There's so much. And I don't know whether
we even get to the race.
Yes, it is.
It's all kicked off.
I don't know whether I'm happy or sad. I really don't. I'm so confused.
I don't know how to feel.
Yeah. So I'm hoping by the end of this episode, I will have a status whether I am happy or sad or just glum.
Yes.
Don't know.
You'll know where we are in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, that's right. So we have the 2017 Singapore Grand Prix that we've just watched.
Oh, yes.
Initial impressions on that, Andy?
Initial impressions. I really enjoyed it. Actually, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
The event was a lot of fun. Not necessarily the racing, but the event itself was a lot of fun. If that makes sense to you.
Yeah, I suppose it does. I think. I think I know where you're coming from on that. Yeah. For me, race not so good. The weekend, busy, and so there was lots of speculation and scope to draw from that. So I'm happy from that point of view. So, yeah. Has anything happened since the last race? I don't know.
Has anything happened since the last? I don't think so. I think we should probably just go straight to the race, don't you?
Sure.
Oh, wait. There was one thing.
Yeah.
I think. What's its name? Tip of my tongue. Orange Team. We're huge fans of theirs.
You got me, mate. You got me.
No, Arrows, was that it?
Arrows, fucking hell. Oh yeah, by the way, spoiler warning, or not spoiler warning, but just general warning. There's probably going to be lots of swearing during this because it's going to get hectic later on. So if you've got your little ears listening, please shuffle them out the room or out the car.
Wait, I
Please
remember
stop
what
the
it is
car
now.
before you shuffle them out the car, though.
I remember what it is. The big news. We've all been expecting it. It finally landed. The shark fins. They're not going away anymore.
No, they're not.
They're not. They're staying now.
Do you know, with that, the argument was made, well, everyone uses them for sponsorship.
No, they don't. I'm literally looking at a picture now of Nico Hulkenberg, and all it has is that HUL on that bit. That is it.
I know Force India do. They use it. Williams can be argued that they don't because it's just a continuation of the livery that runs up it. Apart from that, no. Red Bull gained a tail on its bull earlier on, but that's it.
Yeah. And they had a tail on their bull back in the last time these sodding things appeared. Which was it, 2012, 2013?
Yeah, I suppose somewhere along their minds, yeah. But that's the argument. I'm nonplussed either way. I can give or take them. I don't mind.
I'm not so fussed anymore about the billboards because I refuse to call them shark fins because they're not shark fins. They're literally billboards.
No, they need to be shaped to be a shark fin, don't they?
What I don't like are these sodding T-wings.
Yep.
Now, they haven't said if they're staying or going, but I would have thought they will be going. I'd hope they were going.
I think they're going. They're definitely going. They bloody well better be going.
They better be going.
Yeah, because they're dumb. They're stupid. They are embarrassing. And we all seen what Force India have done with their billboard as well. With the razor shark note, what do you call it? it's got about 30 fins on it running across the top.
They call it the Stegosaurus fin.
Oh, give over, man. That's no. Swordfish, I could deal with, maybe. Stegosaurus, no, it's not. No.
No, it's. I don't know. I just assumed, they were using it to cut crusty loaves of bread. In the,
Yeah. Well, Williams were running something very similar in Italy, but it didn't have the many teeth on it. It was just one single flat blade going laterally.
Yes.
But it wasn't really reported on, but I noticed it, and it just threw my vision out because it looked odd when I saw it. But yeah, I'm quite happy for this to be on there, but it's a bit dumb, isn't it? It's a bit dumb.
Yeah, little bit. It's a little bit crazy. I don't know if this is connected directly to the billboard thing, but they're also banning the monkey seats from next year. And I would just like to say how utterly appalled I am that in the entire time we've had these monkey seats, I'm yet to see any kind of simian riding around on these vehicles. I mean, it creates a level of expectation. I'm expecting, almost like those guys that used to stand on the back of horse-drawn carriages, to be there on the back of these cars. And yet I have yet to see evidence of any of them. So,
not one goddamn ape on there.
Yeah.
Disgusting. I'm quite happy to see them go because it was promised that they weren't meant to muck around with the airflow coming out of the exhaust. And yet, that's crept in a little bit.
Yeah, it's just always the way you give them anything, they'll find some way to blow air over something.
Yeah, that's right.
it's what they do.
They probably sit around in Costa Coffee or Starbucks or anywhere else and just sit there going, "Can we blow air over that? Can we blow air over that?" And they're just talking about their coffee cups. Can we blow air over that? My phone, can I blow air over that? That's what they do. Fuckers.
It is entirely all they do. But yeah, okay, we kind of buried the lead a little bit. Yeah, there was another big bit of news over the weekend. Aston Martin are going to become a title sponsor for Red Bull.
Are they bringing engines?
That depends.
Right.
It kind of depends on who Red Bull end up using, which is kind of segued into the bit I was avoiding having to talk about, you bastard. But well, since evidently you want to get to there, yes, Honda and McLaren have finally said, look, it's not you, it's me. I think we should see other engine manufacturers, and I want custody of Fernando. So yes, the divorce has been granted. They have until the end of the season to work out who gets the commemorative plate collection. Mm-hmm. Who gets the house, who gets the motorhome,
CDs
all these sort of things.
Split up, haven't they?
CDs have got to be split. Yeah, the albums. Who gets the friends as well?
Yeah.
So there's all that. But yes. So okay, let's see if we can keep track of all of this. So Honda is leaving McLaren, meaning Fernando will therefore stay at McLaren because Renault are going to go to McLaren. Mm-hmm. Honda are going to move to Toro Rosso with a 3-year deal, becoming a works team. In doing so, Sainz is being given to Renault as part of that deal, meaning Jolyon Palmer is out of a seat. However, because of the nasty things that Red Bull had said about Renault previously, from 2018, it looks like they won't have the Renault engines either. Have I missed anything at all there?
I think you're good. I think you've got it.
Good, because, yeah. Nothing. All of the things happened.
That's right, yeah. Number one, I'm not surprised. Well, it's not even confirmed about Alonso staying with McLaren yet, is it? It's not nailed on.
Confirmed, but it's all but confirmed. Yeah. It's... everyone's like, okay, fine. They're not having to put up with Honda. Alonso will be okay with that, provided, and this is a very big provided he isn't given engines from the same pool that Max Verstappen has been taking them from. as long as he's from the Ricciardo pile, he'll be fine. But still, yes. So McLaren have divorced from Honda. We don't know anything as yet about the terms. It seems as amicable as it possibly could be. They did a joint press conference. They just said, it just wasn't working. So, it's probably for the best.
It's all very awkward, isn't it? It really is.
It is a bit. It is a bit awkward. It's the whole mail order bride thing. You met up with her. You thought, okay, so maybe the picture was just a very flattering one on that one particular instance. But the longer you've been together, it's just not working out.
And it turns out to be Dan from Dagenham. Oh dear.
Yeah. So, McLaren and Honda are parting ways. Now, McLaren are going to be taking Renault engines. So for the first time in history, we have a McLaren Renault.
Which is interesting.
Potentially interesting.
Yeah.
And I believe this deal is only until 2020.
Right. Okay. Well, yeah, let's just skirt around where we are at the moment, just for now.
Yeah. But Toro Rosso will be taking the Honda engines and will become a works team. And bear in mind that outfit is effectively Minardi.
That's right, yeah.
Minardi has now become a works team.
Yeah.
Now, part of this deal seems to be that Red Bull have agreed to loan Carlos Sainz to Renault, as in the factory Renault team, meaning one Mr. J. Palmer suddenly found himself without a drive, although apparently he will keep the drive until the end of the season, not until Malaysia, as has been rumoured. It would seem that what's happened is Renault went with a large amount of money and saying, please, would you get out of your contract so we can have Carlos Sainz from next week? And him and his dad said, no, because we have a cast iron contract. That being said, in Formula One, the contracts aren't generally worth the paper they're written on. Who was it, a Sauber a couple of years ago? All that kicked off.
Oh, well, it kicked off with Max Chilton at Marussia, or yeah, I think it was, where he was 1 minute he was out of the drive, and then next minute he brought £10 million and was suddenly back in the drive.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's all very confusing. But it looks like next year Renault's going to be Hülkenberg and Sainz.
Okay, that's a good pairing.
I think so. It means that Palmer is eyeing up a possible seat at Williams, but I don't think he'll get it. A, just down to performance, and B, Williams need at least one driver over the age of 22 for sponsorship issues and deals, and I don't think he is over 22.
To Google, I'm afraid.
To the internet!
I think it's over 25 as well, due to alcohol licensing.
It's due to Martini. Martini require a slightly older gentleman or lady to help them with the whole selling alcohol. So while that's all going on,
Jolien is 26.
Okay, so he could potentially do that, but it still doesn't mitigate the whole performance thing. So where was I going? Okay, yeah. So now the other thing, and this isn't confirmed, but it is not been denied. And that is that Renault has turned around to Red Bull and said, we will not supply you with engines past the end of 2018.
Right. When was that said?
It was said over the weekend. It's one of those ones, unattributed sources have said it.
Right, okay.
And every time someone's asked Christian or something like that, he's all like, well, we're focusing on this year. We'll see what we're doing next year, blah, 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 blah. But it would seem to be a reaction to Red Bull effectively throwing Renault under the bus last year. Was it last year or the year before last?
It was 2014, yeah, where their car just wasn't up to any muster at all.
Yeah, and again, they threw Renault under the bus for that one. And Renault just feel they haven't been given the credit for all the success Red Bull had during their run. Which, fair enough. I can definitely see where they're going with that. So Aston Martin, as well as coming on board as full title sponsors, are looking at possibly fielding an engine when new regulations change in 2021 if the formula is amenable to it. So, as Ted Kravitz pointed out, effectively, what's his name? Dieter Matsic?
Yep.
Is that how you say his name? Is effectively pulling out of Formula One bit by bit. and possibly a view to offload the team to someone like Aston Martin. So we'll see where it goes with that.
Okay, yeah, I suppose it's like a gently pull out because there's room. Well, Toro Rosso has been up for sale for quite some time anyway, and that could lead to Honda buying Toro Rosso. I think with this engine deal, they get a 40% stake in the team, which is a huge amount.
I think they're effectively going to float the budget for the team.
Yeah.
So, Dieter, what's his name, doesn't have to pay for it anymore. So
yeah,
we'll see how we go on with that.
So that could. Well, I think if the Honda engine was developed well and worked out to be very good, then that gives Red Bull the opportunity to take that engine as well.
Oh, exactly. But the problem is,
it's very shrewd from Red Bull, I feel.
It's potentially very true. I think Red Bull would have preferred not to have the ultimatum from Renault, and it was their choice. Because Honda now have to prove that they can do it.
Yeah.
And it's possibly a smart thing doing it with Toro Rosso. There's a lot less expectation on them to win. The kind of performances that Alonso's been getting out of the car, if a Toro Rosso's doing those, probably wouldn't bat an eyelid.
Mm-hmm.
It's because McLaren has been the ones doing it. There's a certain level of expectation there. So, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, like I said, that's all the hoo-ha. The Toro Rosso deal is a 3-year deal, apparently.
Right.
So, that will take us right up to the end of these current engine regulations.
Yeah, there's talk about trying to change the engines earlier. There was no more talk about Porsche this week either.
No, there wasn't.
Sounds like they're not too optimistic about actually making an engine anymore.
I think everything's kind of just waiting and seeing what's happening with the formula, effectively.
Yeah.
And we'll just see where we are with that. Apparently, Ferrari are pushing very hard for Sauber to run Giovinazzi and Leclerc in Sauber, effectively becoming a Ferrari B team like Toro Rosso is.
Do you know what? Give them proper engines then, for crying out loud.
They're getting those from next year, though, aren't they?
Right. Okay. God, it's just. Oh, it's so sad to see a team with an engine that's just not being developed. And
it really is, and I really don't think there's any excuse for it.
No.
I mean, if anything, it's got to be costing them more to just keep manufacturing the older parts.
Yeah.
Than just give them the current stuff, but whatever. So that was that one. McLaren, again, in one of these trying to get Alonso to sign on board, have said they're open to letting him race at Le Mans next year. Okay. And Toyota have said they're open to running him, since they're the only LMP1 team still running. So, on the plus side, provided we manage to go the distance, a very good chance he could win it next year.
Could possibly win it. But what are the... You imagine him over there in the only LMP1 car. They're running 2 or 3 cars and somehow doesn't win. Oh, Jesus.
I still would love to see Alonso in Le Mans, though. So,
yeah,
because we both love Le Mans, because Le Mans is awesome.
It is, yes. Perez and Ocon signed contracts as well, so they're all signed up for the next 3 years.
Yeah, they're kind of locked in place. Massa's, don't know really what's going on with Massa. He's come out and said Williams have got to show that they want him. And Williams seem to be actively shopping around everywhere else. So, don't know if we're going to see Phil Massa, as Brundle kept calling him, on the grid next year. We'll have to see.
I don't like that, by the way.
Phil Massa?
Yeah, just bugs me a little bit. Stop calling him Phil. Not you, just...
No, I was saying I'll just bear it in mind for when I want to annoy you.
Oh, flipping hell.
The Singapore Grand Prix extended its deal for 4 years.
Yep.
So that's nice.
Are you happy with that?
Yeah, I do as a rule like the race. If for no reason other than it's unlike anything else on the grid.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the night race, I think the cars always look spectacular here.
Yep.
And, you know, I've been to Singapore quite a few times. I kind of know those streets. So that's kind of cool. I have aspirations to go to it at some point. It's one of the races I would quite like to go and do.
Yeah.
So, you know, if anyone's listening out there wants to sponsor me and Elton to go to the Singapore Grand Prix next year, we'd be willing to put up with that heat for you guys.
Yeah, we'll do it for you. We'll take one for the team, I do believe they say.
We will definitely take one for the team. I think that is effectively it as far as the news in between. We know there's a push to drop the 3-engine limit for 2018 on evidence that they can't even do 4 engines at the minute. There's also a push to get rid of the grid penalties for engines, or at least a different way to penalise the manufacturers, which everyone is on board for except Force India, because they haven't really suffered from them at all, so they don't give a fuck.
Yeah, you wait until they start suffering, then they'll start bitching about it.
Of course they will. Of course they will. But yeah, I'm certainly in favour of them getting rid of the grid penalties for something else.
Yeah, maybe not as hectic as what it is. There needs to be something, but not the farce that we had in Italy.
Yeah.
That was just crazy bonkers.
Definitely. And fortunately this week we didn't really have that.
Oh, that was amazing. Everyone started from where they were supposed to start from.
Pretty much. Oh, one other bit of news we haven't really mentioned. Nico Rosberg has taken over the management of Robert Kubica.
Oh, okay. Okay. So, where's he going to try and slot him? Is he going to try and slot him in there somewhere, or
well, apparently Kubica's got a test with Williams.
Okay. Once again, would you rather have Jolyon Palmer or a one-armed man?
Honestly?
Yeah.
I take Robert Kubica every day of the week.
Yep. Same here. Ain't that bad. Oh, dear. But yes, I would. I'd take him straight away.
Yeah. I mean, and again, the one-armed man aside sort of thing is just... Look, we've been very hard on Jolyon Palmer.
I don't care. We don't care,
but I'm just saying we happy. But quite frankly, I just don't think he was Renault's third pick for that seat.
At least
a third pick for the seat. And when given that second chance, okay, he's had a lot of technical issues, but you know what? When he hasn't had the technical issues, he hasn't stood up.
No, he hasn't really shone. I think he had a pretty good Italian Grand Prix, and I think the writing was on the wall even then. I think the writing was all on the wall in Australia, but yeah, he hasn't shone. He hasn't. There's no personality there in which we like. Oh, we'd really miss him if he'd go. That's really, you know, if Daniel Ricciardo was crap, we'd still miss him if he went, wouldn't we?
Oh, absolutely. And it doesn't help as well that his dad tried to kill you, so, you know.
Exactly, yeah. Well, yeah, that was the nail in the coffin before even the coffin was built.
Yeah. I think it might also be a fact that, you know, certainly with Sky, that the presenters dote on him like you wouldn't believe.
Yep.
And I just feel that maybe that's also kind of put us against him a little bit, because it's just like, he's nowhere near worthy of the praise they keep trying to put on him. But... Even now, you can hear it when they're talking. They're finding it harder and harder to justify it.
I think that may be down to the fact that he's only the second Englishman, British representation on the grid. If there was maybe Jenson Button and someone else, that might be diverted a little bit. The home team would have someone else to talk about, but it's either Lewis Hamilton, who's winning, or Jolyon Palmer, who's not winning.
Yes.
So yeah, it is the trouble with it, and you know, Brits are kind of patriotic about that sort of stuff as well, aren't we? Sometimes,
yeah,
can be sometimes. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's it then, is it? I take it.
I think that is just about all of the news that happened between what was it, 2 weeks, for the last 2 weeks?
Yeah.
That was about it.
Okay.
Because, like I said, as soon as the Honda move was officially announced, just everything else, because we were expecting the McLaren and Honda thing.
Yeah, that was on the cards last time, wasn't it?
That was on the cards, but all the driver changes and the thing with Red Bull, that was left field. It's like, what?
Well, yeah, the thing about the Palmer thing as well, it sounded as if they wanted Sainz in, maybe not this race, but the next race. But someone forgot to tell Palmer. Or someone...
Well, apparently he only heard about it by reading it on Autosport.
Oh, dear. He's probably Googling himself. He wasn't even looking at articles. He was, I'm going to go to my computer. Jolyon Palmer. Send. Oh dear. This isn't good. Dad!
Yeah, something like that. So, I mean, it would seem that the seat he's aiming for is the Williams, but I don't see him. I think they'll stick with Massa before him. They might go for Kubica. There's a few other people in there all in running for that, but you see, the Williams seat potentially, now you've got Paddy Lowe over there, is one that I think is, if he can help turn the ship around, it can certainly come good.
Yes.
It's got the best engine on the grid in the back of that thing. They've got the potential there to do it. They just need to, like I said, get someone with a good hand on the rudder, and hopefully he's the man to do it. So we will see.
Good. Okay, well, I'm going to rattle through practice because not a lot happened during practice. We had Vettel, Palmer, Ericsson, Ricciardo. They all tagged, brushed, and bounced into walls at some point or another.
Just a little kiss.
Yeah, little kisses, and what turned out to be, a bit more than a French kiss at some other places as well. Escape roads were used. There was a part where Sainz used an escape road and then reversed onto the track, and then Vettel...
That was pretty terrifying.
Yeah, and it begs the question why the rain light, flashy red light at the back doesn't illuminate solid when they're reversing. There's something missing there. All road cars have to have a white light because that's the leading side of the car when you're reversing. I'm not saying put white lights on these, just maybe something to indicate that there is a car there, because under them lights and lots of shadows, there was a black object getting closer towards Vettel at one point, and it just seemed a bit, this could have been nasty.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just, you see these sort of things happening in slow motion, it's just like, nope.
Yeah, and one of the funniest things I kept seeing throughout the whole weekend was Giancarlo Fisichella in all of his Ferrari gear, which I tweeted earlier on during the weekend, just saying it looks like a kid in a Superman pajama costume, as if like he's the proudest person. Oh, look at me, I'm in my Ferrari gear because I can be in my Ferrari gear, and these are my PJs, and I've got my bottle of juice next to me as well. It's just brilliant. His smiley little face. How many races did he do for a Ferrari? 3 or 4, I think it was.
It was something like that, and let's face it, best left.
Yeah, it wasn't very good when he did it. Was it 2000 I'd like to say 9. Yeah, 2009 when Massa went missing, wasn't it? And
yeah, it was after he got smacked in the head by the...
Springs!
Yay!
Springs! Spring is here. And yeah, so it softens my cold, dead heart whenever I see Giancarlo Fisichella in his PJs. So that's wonderful. Daniel Ricciardo was fastest in the first practice, I think it was, and FP2. He set a new track record at that time anyway, so he was doing very, very well indeed. The Ferraris seemed to be sandbagging throughout practice and qualifying a little bit, trying not to show their hand too much, but the Red Bulls were looking very, very good, with Mercedes looking a little bit down.
I was just saying, I would say Red Bull looking very, very good. Mercedes looking not.
Yes. Okay. Qualifying, right? I'm going to rush through qualifying because did you find this interesting at all?
Not especially.
No, it wasn't. I didn't think it was at all. Q1, Massa hit the wall with his right rear, right rear. Broke the wheel completely, ended up going into the pits, getting it fixed and coming back out again, which was good.
Mm-hmm.
Palmer was faster than Hulkenberg during Q1 as well, which surprised many, if not me. McLaren were both in the top 5, and Grosjean, Stroll, Ericsson all rubbed the wall at some point or another.
Euphemism!
I'm trying to remember, was there was rain before qualifying, wasn't there? There was damp patches around, and I think the track
it
was
rained.
getting
It had
better.
rained earlier in the day because it always rains in Singapore every single day. I was once flying into Singapore, and the captain came over the intercom and go, "Ladies and gentlemen, we're about to land in Singapore, and the weather is the same as it's been every day for the last 40 years. Extremely hot, extremely muggy, and it's going to rain." So,
Really? Do you know what? I'd never thought about that. I never thought that it would rain over there. Not saying it wouldn't rain over there, but
it get that kind of like monsoon sort of. It'll just the cloud will burst, drenches everything, disappears. 5 minutes later, everything's bone dry again.
Right.
It's because again, it's more or less on the equator.
Yeah.
So it rains almost every day, but because the race is so late in the evening, it's usually dried up by then. Mm-hmm. It doesn't typically rain in the evening in Singapore. Typically,
yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so Q1 we lost Ericsson, Verline, Stroll, Massa, and Magnussen by the skin of his teeth. I think he was pumped out by turn of words, by Romain Grosjean. So
euphemism?
Why not? Let's have a euphemism. Q2, Verstappen was quickest with a 1:43.32, which was at that point a track record. We also had Palmer jumping out, and both Force Indias were out, and both McLarens got through to Q3, which was also very surprising.
It was, although it did look a bit touch and go towards the end then. It was constantly evolving. Yeah. But they both made it through there. Yeah,
so Q2, we lost Grosjean, Ocon, Kvyat, Perez, and Palmer. And so we went into Q3. And it was exciting for bits of it, I suppose. We had Vettel set a fast time, Max Verstappen set a fast time as well, Daniel Ricciardo, Kimi Räikkönen, Lewis Hamilton, and Valtteri Bottas all set times. They went out again for their second time. Slightly improved on their times overall, but didn't trade positions whatsoever. That was just locked in from there.
Yeah.
We did get a fastest lap overall, which was 1:39.491 from Sebastian Vettel, who grabbed pole position with that lap. He also hit the wall on that lap as well.
He did, yeah. Again, just a little kiss. He did have to change the suspension on the left-hand side of the car.
Yeah,
yes,
the left-hand side, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And apart from that, the running order was Vettel, Verstappen, Ricciardo, Räikkönen, Hamilton, Bottas, Hulkenberg, Alonso, Van Dorn, and Carlos Sainz Jr. So that's your top 10. And with grid positions, there was only one who was Marcus Ericsson. He had a 5-place grid position for an unscheduled gearbox change. But he was already
he was already starting at the back, so it's just like, whatever.
So it was lovely. No swapping and changing round positions or anything like that. It was like, guys, well done. As you were. Mm-hmm. Please go play nicely and have a lovely race. Oh dear. What happened?
What happened was Charlie Whiting was on the notebook.
Yeah.
The qualifying notebook. And he said, some people are saying it might rain tomorrow. And then Ted Kravitz says, don't say that, you're going to curse it. And he goes, I'm just saying what the weather said.
Right. But wouldn't Ted know that anyway?
Yes, but he knows better than to air it, to say it.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, to be perfectly honest, I quite a few people said during commentary on qualifying or in the run-up and everything, talking about rain, because we've never had a wet night race.
No, and I've been looking forward to one.
Well, we'd had a bit in MotoGP.
Yeah. There
was one in Qatar, back when I used to watch it before it moved to BT, because fuck off, I'm paying for BT as well as Sky. And yeah, that was somewhat farcical. But still, we've never had it. And yeah, I was looking forward to it as well, just because, you want to see these guys do it. Although what was really irritating me in the run-up was one Mr. R. Grosjean was already saying, oh, it's going to be unsafe. We shouldn't race if it's raining and all that.
Oh, jeez.
It's just like, oh, fuck off. I mean, why are you even in Formula One, mate? Seriously,
yeah.
Why?
Yeah. Oh,
Go and drive a medical car.
No, because he'll be like, oh, it's unsafe. It's unsafe, and I've got wipers. Oh, no. Why was he saying that? What did he want? Did he want to start behind the safety car? Because I think that they started the race correctly. I think starting behind the safety car would have been foul. That would have been a con, and everyone should have booed their asses off if that started behind the safety car.
It was absolutely the right decision to start the race normally at the end of the day. But yeah, and again, I don't know if this is taken out of context, but he was going, goes, when asked about the possibility of racing, he goes, I have no idea. It's a concern I've always had with this race. With the lights high up, if the spray goes up there, we won't see much. But let's see. I don't know how it's going to work.
But don't look up there then.
Well, I just feel like he goes into it with the wrong attitude. But whatever. Not going to dwell on it. But yeah, basically, I mean, it held off. It rained before the race. We're on to the race now, people, if you're not paying attention. Anyway, it rained before the race, but then stopped. They had to cancel or move the Porsche race, sorry. But then, while Martin was doing his grid walk, it started raining.
That was wicked.
That was fucking wicked. That was really wicked. Because, again, the thing about Singapore is if it's just light rain, it doesn't usually hit the ground. Like, it falls. You can see it falling, but it's usually evaporated before it hits the ground.
Yeah.
Then when it really started, and they got the little gazebos up and they were like, oh, we don't know what tyres we're doing until 5 minutes and everything like that.
Yeah.
And then it was interesting because you got some going on the inters, some on the full wets. It was just like, oh, it's gotten all spicy all of a sudden.
Well, with the rain, it seemed as if the water was hitting the floor and evaporating straight away. So you had water falling down, but also water going up as well. It was really confusing. Oh
yeah, it was. And again, I remember one time I was there. I was working at an air show in Singapore, and I'm standing there, and you got like a load of tarmac across this parking lot sort of area, and I could see the rain coming towards me. Like I could see the line where the storm was coming. Heavy rain, kind of got drenched. Then all of a sudden, it passed on, and like I said, 15, 20 minutes later, it was just dry.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, that was during the day. Nighttime, it's not quite as quick. But still, it's so hot in the ground. The surface temperature is so hot, the water just tends to evaporate. And that's what I think was important here is, even with the newer tarmac, which you could see in some places with the resins and all that, there wasn't enough water building up for aquaplaning.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was interesting because you could see the rain coming down. It wasn't really being picked up on the TV cameras. I don't know whether that's because of the lights or what, because they're operating differently underneath the lights. But when they drove, looking at the track before that, it didn't seem that wet. As soon as they went on their parade lap and they chucked up a load of water, he was like, oh, wow, it is really wet. And it did seem to...
And you can see what you could certainly get what they were getting at about the visibility. At least when you were looking at them front on, it was like they were driving through a fog. But then when you saw the other action, you're like, well, actually, you can see the lights of all the other cars.
Yeah,
the big flashing ones, and again, these guys know the circuit well enough to know where their braking points are. So I really don't think visibility was that much of an issue. I mean, as evidenced by the fact which, first corner aside, they all pretty much circulated with no problems.
Yeah.
So yeah, Roman, seriously, I
Get your
don't
head
know.
down and get some times in, mate. Honestly.
Basically, yeah.
I think
less whinging, more racing.
Yeah, I think he's got massive potential, but I feel that he's getting worried. He's getting too worried. Is it because he's had a kid a couple of years ago and now he's a bit like, I don't know if I want to go racing today. Don't know. It scares me. I don't know. But yeah, wind in a little bit, mate. Honestly, either get racing or go home. That's the gist of it.
Pretty much, that's the size of it. But anyway, shall we get on with yon race?
Yeah. So we had a flash downpour, didn't we? Just before the race. So that really scuppered everyone. As you said before, people chose to either go on wets or inters. I think it was split pretty, was it half and half?
Yeah, I'd probably say about that. You know, you had...
top 6 were on inters, weren't they?
Yeah, the highest placed Hulkenberg, I think, was the highest placed man on wets.
Yep.
Alonso went on wets. But yeah, basically the top 6 were all on inters.
Yeah, Williams split their cars as well. I think Massa was on wets, Stroll was on...
Because no one had any clue how this was going to play out.
No.
Because again, 10 years of coming here, never had a wet race.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. So the start then, because something happened at the start, and I have my own opinions of it. Lots of other people have their own opinions of it. We had, at the start, everyone got away fairly well for the conditions that they were in. One Mr. Kimi Räikkönen had a storming start.
Oh, he was, you know, someone said there's an ice cream truck down at the end of a race. He was gone. He could hear that musical chime,
ding,
and he's off.
Ding, 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 ding. Where's that? Zoom. And yeah, he had a storming start. He came alongside and was in front of Verstappen well before the first corner. It seemed to me as if Vettel had a sluggish start, got a bit too much wheel spin, ended up coming over on Verstappen just to try and block him ever so slightly, which every other driver would do as well. And we've seen other drivers do this as well.
Yep.
And that caused a problem because Max Verstappen had nowhere to go. He looked like he was trying to get out of a situation where 2 Ferraris were closing in on him from both sides. He had nowhere to go, and he ended up tagging Kimi Räikkönen, which pitched Kimi into Vettel.
I would say Räikkönen tagged Verstappen because it looked like to me Verstappen is just driving straight.
Yep.
And Kimi's coming across, you know, expecting Verstappen to move to the right, and Vettel's trying to chop his nose off, expecting him to move to the left, and he's in the middle going, he may as well just take his hands off the wheel and say, I got nothing here. I got nothing.
Yeah.
And the great irony was, he got away with that initial contact.
He did, didn't he? Yeah.
There were, you know, again, he was hit, but it was pretty much square on. There was no real damage that we could really see.
It was Kimi that
pretty
had
much
the full force of that, wasn't it?
Kimi was fucked at that point. His rear wheel was pointing one direction. His front was facing another direction. He was buggered, and he was just scooching along on the plank as a passenger at that point. And yeah, he arrived at the scene of the accident after tagging Vettel. And went straight back into Verstappen, who went straight into Alonso, who'd had a mighty start. I'd argue a better start even than Kimi.
Who was third in that first corner.
Third in that corner.
He had no right. If fucking McLaren, as if there was going to be a massive first corner pile-up with the front leaders, and Alonso's there? What? No, that doesn't happen nowadays.
No.
And yet he was third going into that first corner.
He was third going into that corner. And yeah, he reckons he could have had a podium today. And I don't see any reason to doubt that.
So on the initial crash incident, call it whatever you want, who would you throw any blame at anyone, or is anyone to blame for this?
No, it's a racing incident.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone is to blame, but if someone was doing something they potentially shouldn't have been doing, it would be Vettel. I'm not saying he was doing anything wrong, because as you say, when you have a bad start, you cover off the guy. You want to try and chop off their nose and, make them have to back off.
Yeah.
It is just what you do. But Kimi got a lightning start and he was just doing his thing. Verstappen got a reasonable start and was just doing his thing.
Mm-hmm.
If Vettel had stayed out to the right, just took the corner as he would normally on the racing line, no problem.
Do you know, I think if there wasn't any contact at all, I think Kimi would have got into the first corner first.
Probably, yeah.
I think he had the momentum.
If Vettel had stayed out, I think you'd got into that first corner, it would have been Kimi from Vettel from Verstappen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. On the incident itself, I feel Kimi had a little bit of room on his left. He had a tiny bit of room that he could have utilised. And maybe if he had moved over a couple of inches, then Max might have moved over a couple of inches, then we wouldn't have had that contact. I'm not saying... I don't think anyone's to blame. People turn around and say Max Verstappen caused this crash and screwed Ferrari over. No.
Those people were tweeting from the Ferrari Twitter account.
And they're wrong. They are totally wrong. If anyone screwed themselves over as a team, it was Ferrari. Ferrari screwed this up, but I still think it was a legitimate move from Vettel to cut him off. We've seen it time and time again. Then you've got to think about the weather situation as well.
I think that might have played into it a little bit. In fact, I'm just going to post, because again, lovely thing about Liberty Media, they put highlights on YouTube now.
Yes, which is amazing.
It is amazing. So if you aren't already, go and subscribe to the Formula One YouTube channel. It's the official one, and they have highlights. And I've just sent the link across to the start.
Yep.
And you just watch that, and yeah, you've got Verstappen is pretty much just going in a straight line, and the two Ferraris literally just kind of close him, and they pinch him.
Yeah.
You can literally see them both coming in at him from either side. Yeah, Kimi's got a little bit of space over there, but again, they're both trying to chop off his nose.
Yeah.
But neither of them realised the other Ferrari's doing the exact same thing.
No, that's right. That's right. I think everyone was entitled to be where they were at that time. Kimi had a mega start. He, like I said before, he possibly could have been leading the race into turn one if he got past Max. He could have given a little bit more room. Max had a sluggish start. Vettel had a bit of a sluggish start as well. But once again, he's allowed to move over. Max, he can't just disappear. I would evaporate.
Again, we're not attributing blame, but I'd say the person who was the least to blame, like the most innocent party there, in my opinion, is Max Verstappen.
Yeah.
So he literally has nowhere to go.
No.
And it's just, well...
I can't see how Ferrari and Ferrari fans can turn around and say this was Max's fault. He did nothing wrong. He didn't move. He didn't move at all. What do you want him to do? Just back out and say, oh no, sorry, you're Ferrari, you may go ahead. No, it doesn't work like that, guys. Honestly, if you're thinking that, then just go away. It doesn't work. No, you got to look at all the facts here. And I think it's well known that I want Ferrari to win this. And yet I was so disappointed coming out of this first corner. I was fuming with this. My first reaction wasn't, oh, Max, what have you done? It was, Ferrari, what have you done? I thought, oh, they've screwed it up again. Possible Vettel moving over and squeezing for no reason whatsoever.
It was like one of those Bugs Bunny cartoons where he gets two of the villains to screw each other over.
Yeah.
The unfortunate thing here is Verstappen playing the role of Bugs Bunny got clipped in his own thing regardless.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Kimi and Verstappen clonking Alonso, they're both out the first corner. Vettel managed to keep going around the next corner, but that was about as far as it went. His radiator was leaking fluid, and it looks like it leaked onto the rear wheels.
Yeah.
And spun him around. What was interesting, though, when he clocked the nose, it took the entire nose assembly off.
It just fell off, didn't it?
It did, and I don't think we've ever seen that.
No, I think they might be having a look at that, because it didn't take an impact from when Kimi hit him. Kimi's car took a bite out of his car like a shark, but it was towards the side pod, towards the rear of the car.
Yeah, but the entire nose assembly went off, and then he just stuck it in reverse and just kind of rolled backwards.
Yeah, do you know what? It wouldn't surprise me if it went through his mind of, well, if I've spun, I wonder if I can clock Lewis's Mercedes just in case.
Oh, Lewis was right behind him, so we knew Lewis had already gone. This was just him. Effectively, he didn't want to stop, and I just think he wanted to at least be moving with the traffic and try and steer out of the way. I mean, I'll give him props for the wherewithal, because he drove around the corner backwards.
Yeah,
with no visibility. But yeah, I mean, he then spun it around, and he's leaking fluids and everything out the back, and everything was fucked. So. Basically his race ended in that first corner too. Wah, wah.
So we've got seven world titles out before the first corner, haven't we?
Pretty much, yeah.
And it just, when this sort of thing happens,
seven.
Yeah.
Well, that's 4.
Vettel 4, Kimi Räikkönen 1.
Kimi's 1.
And then Alonso has 2.
Oh, well, he went on for another 8 laps.
It was a wounded animal. If that was a horse, they'd have put it down straight away, wouldn't they?
Oh yeah, it was fucked, and I really felt for Alonso. It felt like this weekend a weight had been lifted from his shoulders.
Yeah,
because of the whole thing. I honestly believe he could have. He'd certainly been challenging for a podium today. The potential was there with him in that car.
Yeah, I feel that there was probably a montage going through his head, more like life flashing before his eyes, but a montage of him with thumbs up with the Renault guys, and look at me, 2018. 2018 is going to be sweet, and then all of a sudden, clonk, and he's got a Red Bull and a Ferrari just pushing.
Well, I noticed on the front, because I was watching the article about the medical car before the race, and have a blue light in the front of the car which warns if it's taken a 15G impact, I think it is.
Right.
And his light went off after that hit.
Right.
So that thing took 15 Gs of impact. That's a hefty smack.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, again, he limped around for a little bit. I remember at one point he's going, so what do you guys think? And they go, we're getting no data from the car. Well, you tell us what you think. We've got no idea.
We don't know. We're Honda. We don't fucking know.
Yeah, the Honda guys won't tell us.
Yeah, we're McLaren. We're going to be getting Renault. They don't want to tell us anything. It's barely an engine in the back of that thing. You're lucky you're actually going round in circles. But yeah, my disappointment was, that was Alonso. He was in third. And what a sweet race it would have been. It's the disappointment of A, losing Kimi, B, losing Max Verstappen straight away, C, losing Vettel with the championship under so much pressure going into that race.
Oh yeah.
We also have Hamilton, who I just feel he was in the right place at the right time. I don't want to say he lucked into leading that race, but Jesus Christ, he lucked into leading that race.
He lucked into leading the race, absolutely. But after that, he managed to find some pace. And where the fuck was that all weekend?
It wasn't anywhere. Well, okay. Is there anything else we need to talk about at the beginning?
At the beginning, I mean, not really. The safety car was taking them through the pit lane. Mm-hmm. At one point, they were not sure if they could retire Alonso or something, because I remember Ted Kravitz saying the rules are he's not allowed to actually stop in the pit lane while under the safety car.
Yeah.
But that's got to be rubbish. If you need to retire the car, you can just stop it whenever.
Yeah.
I mean, what we're gonna do? Black flag your car from the race? It's already done that.
They can just pull in, guys. Come on.
Yeah. I mean, again, if the car could have run, there would have been an excellent chance of getting at least some points potentially. But yeah, it just wasn't. Car was fucked.
Yeah.
It took forever before we could get a shot of that side, but once you saw it, it was like, yeah. Radiator, there was bits of electronics hanging out with gubbins and all that. And
That looked like it had a shark bite it as well. It
really did, yeah.
Wasn't pretty at all.
So yeah, I mean that was kind of it for the first bit.
On the restart, really... can I just say, on the restart, Palmer passed Bottas.
He did?
The hell? Honestly. Where did that come from? He's just thinking of things to put on his CV now. Yep, passed the Mercedes in race trim.
Quite possibly. I mean, I will say this, Bottas was struggling.
Yeah.
He was not having a fun time. But yeah, fair play to Palmer. You passed a Mercedes in race trim. Well done.
Yep.
Maybe if you'd done that, 7 or 8 races ago, you wouldn't be losing your drive. But not for me to say.
It's ever since he spun in Hungary last year. That was when it was no. This guy's got to go. He's got to go.
Yeah. So yeah, that was about it for the beginning. I mean, quite frankly, not a huge amount then happened until Kvyat decided to go and fall asleep.
Yep.
And I don't entirely know what happened here. He seemed to lock up. It was fighting with, was it Stoffel Landon?
I think he was, yeah, because Stoffel was quite high up, wasn't he?
Yeah, something like that. And yeah, it went boom, straight into the... it was Magnussen he was racing, sorry. Magnussen for 10th. And yeah, he locked up and rather than going down the runoff area, tried to make the corner.
Yeah, he looked like he got caught in two mines and went to the nearest possible point of the two mines.
Yeah. Yeah, as soon as your wheel stops turning, mate, you're no longer in control of that vehicle. You kind of should have gone for the escape road. Quick spin around, you'd have lost a couple of seconds.
Yep.
That was it. But no, into the wall, and then out comes safety car again.
Yep. And, okay, first safety car, do you think that was legitimate for a safety car?
What, the first one?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Second one? They had to get a tractor on the track to pull that thing out the tecto barriers.
Yeah, but... Okay, so, I mean, the reason they do the safety car, and we saw this later on with the Ericsson one, it's because they want the train. They want to know. They want a good period where there's no cars coming by.
Yeah, they can say we've got 2 minutes.
Exactly. Now, the Kvyat one, I can't remember what lap it was on, but I think it was only about 15 minutes after the first one.
Yeah.
I don't think there'd have been that much of a gap. Oh, actually, I'm looking at this now. The gap between Hamilton and Bottas was... Well, no, the gap between Palmer and Bottas was 26 seconds. Palmer and Perez, yeah, they would already been pretty spread out.
Right.
So, yeah, I guess you have to.
Yeah.
I think with Singapore it's just because there's no escape roads or anything like that or runoffs, they just have to bring the crane out. And after what happened with Bianchi, they're never going to let a thing go out on the circuit again.
Yeah.
When there's any chance a car's going to be approaching at anything like race speeds.
No, that's true. I'm more in favour of bringing a safety car out because it's more drama than anything. I would rather see a safety car than a virtual safety car. I feel virtual safety car is a bit unfair for everyone else. It just doesn't seem right.
I think I'd rather have slow zones like in Le Mans.
Yeah.
Where sector whatever it is, you now have to go at this speed. Hell, even if you have to say in sector 2 you've got to be on the pit lane limiter.
Yeah.
I'd be fine with that. And then they can do their clear up, and then as soon as you're out of it, off the limiter, off you go.
The only problem with that is some people will lose heavily, some people will gain heavily. I feel with the safety car, people do lose their lead and people do catch up, but then it's another start, and so you add the drama to that. I just like the drama that it builds up. Yeah,
you had the drama, but I'm pretty sure if Vettel was in the lead, you'd have been like, I don't want no fucking safety cars.
Stop worming your way into my head, for crying out loud.
There isn't a situation where everyone wins.
No, that's
just
true.
The very nature of it. But well, it's But yeah, anyway, Kvyat into the wall.
Safety car.
What's going on? Is Kvyat signed for next year now?
I don't know. Now Sainz has gone, so they're going to have to. They're going to bring Gasly into Toro
Possibly.
Rosso.
Probably. I mean, they may as well. I mean, that's what Toro Rosso is meant to be there for, isn't it?
Yes.
It's the new talent.
So, would Honda want a Japanese driver in that car?
I would. They might, but I don't think they've got the right
Not
for that.
Moment, no.
I don't think they're going to have a driver ready for it.
Yeah. So that might have saved Kvyat's bacon. He might get another year. Another year.
I've just looked on the official entry list for next year so far, like who's confirmed. Toro Rosso have not yet confirmed their drivers for next year.
Mm-hmm.
So, never know. I mean, I've got to say, I don't think he's earned it.
He hasn't set the world alight. He hasn't really proved that he deserves another. He doesn't deserve a Red Bull seat by any long shot, really, does he?
No, and if the goal isn't to move back up to the main team, then what's the point?
Yeah.
He's just he's just flailing as far as I can see. I mean, especially compared to Carlos Sainz.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I think sorry, Danny, but maybe make space for someone else.
Yeah. No.
And to be fair, I mean that could be your answer there. You get Gasly and a Honda guy.
Possibly, or Palmer. Sorry, I don't know what that was.
So, what was that? Oh my God, it's flying pigs.
You imagine Red Bull going, do you know what? The future of this company is Jolyon Palmer. Dad,
after they finish laughing,
yeah.
No, but seriously, who are we going to put in the car?
Dad, do I look good in this Red Bull stuff? Oh dear. The safety car was out then. Okay. During that time, which I found highly amusing, there were a couple of pit stops.
Yes.
Renault they were a bit slack in getting their guys into the pits, and so they pitted one lap too late, and so ended up dropping down the order once all the crocodile was formed, which was a bad call on their part, I feel.
Mm-hmm.
Massa and Van Dorn bumped wheels as well. Massa was it Van Dorn coming out the pits, and I think he just made it to the safety car line where he was entitled to be in front of Massa.
Yeah.
And it looked like Massa lost position of where he was and they ended up bumping into each other. So that was a little bit amusing during the safety car thing. Also, during the safety car, when the safety car was due to pull in, Hamilton backed everyone up, as he is allowed to do so, because he then takes control of everything. And Ricciardo overshot him.
Wasn't that on the third one? Or
No, that was on this one.
Okay, yeah. Wait, have we had the pit? Has Ricciardo swapped his inters at this point? Because I think at this point, Ricciardo pitted, because they were already at this point saying, are we going to get a crossover? But, they were still all saying it was greasy. So Ricciardo came in and he swapped over for a new set of inters.
That's right, yeah. And Hamilton then stayed out, didn't he? Yeah,
and then Hamilton was complaining, saying, why did you do that? And then as they rightly pointed out, said, look, if we brought you in, he'd have stayed out and had track position. And we don't think new inters are going to give him that much of an advantage over track position.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But, yeah, you're right. He did slow them all the way down, and Ricciardo did overtake him, but then again, let him past again. And Lewis slowed down so much that they didn't choose to do anything, which is, fair enough.
Yeah, I still feel that someone needs to have a little quiet talk in Hamilton's ear about safety car etiquette. He's always complaining about the speed of the safety car. That safety car is ragging it around that track. And also when he takes control, I know he didn't cause the problem in Azerbaijan. I know that. And people who are Hamilton fans, trust me, I know that. That wasn't his fault. That was Vettel. That was his misguided behaviour. But he has got form on screwing people over behind the safety car when he's accelerating and braking and, oh no, I'm not really doing that because the rules don't allow that, so I'm not really doing that, but, I'm going to go now. And
well, to be fair, I will say this, though. When Hamilton or whatever the race leader's doing that, they're basically just trying to get the safety car out of the way so they can hammer it to the safety car line as fast as they can to get that heat into their tyres by the time they get to the safety car line.
Yeah.
So when he does that slowing down, it's not because now I'm the train and I'm going to be going around circulating this slowly. He's like, I'm slowing down to get that safety car out of the way. So when I nail it, I can have as much heat and as much temperature in my tyres and brakes as possible.
No, look, I understand that because there was a guy in the Indy car a couple of years ago where he lost the Indy 500 because he pegged it way before he should have and overtook the safety car with 10 laps to go. He overtook it and before he should have, and that was it. He was stuffed. I think it was when Villeneuve won in 95, I think it was.
Before the dark times.
Yeah, that's right. But I get that, but there's also really hammering it down. He seemed to almost, okay, right, the safety car's coming in. I'm going to whack on the anchors now. And if Ricciardo wasn't paying attention, he may have rear-ended him. Because that's the problem behind the safety car. People are braking and accelerating, trying to keep heat into the whole system, aren't they?
Yeah.
And I don't agree with the braking and accelerating that Hamilton used to do in 07, 08, where he caused problems behind himself, because that's just not fair.
No.
But yeah, I feel someone needs to have a chat with all the drivers about etiquette behind the safety car. Stop moaning about the safety car going slow. We know you're in the fastest cars in the world. Just bugs me a little bit. Sorry. Just bugs me. So yeah, he could have rear-ended him, but he didn't. I'm glad the stewards didn't penalise him for that because it was a pure accident.
It was. And again, it worked out fine for him in the end,
Yeah.
So yeah, that was that safety car period, effectively.
Yep.
And then we were off again. Whee!
I think it was lap 17. We had Magnussen, Massa, and Ocon having a bit of a ding dong, which was entertaining.
They had a proper back and forth, because Massa was he was still on the full wets, I believe, at that time.
Yeah.
And he really should have been on the inters since the safety car. So don't quite know whose call that was.
No, didn't they put him on inters and then? Oh no, that was the slicks, wasn't it? They put him Massa onto the slicks first, didn't they?
Yeah,
and then said, "Yeah, it's okay for Stroll. Yeah, Stroll can go out on the slicks now. It's safe for him."
Yeah, I think they were just trying to wait for that crossover where you could go straight from the wets to the slicks.
Yeah,
but again, with the Saubers, I think they were losing 11 seconds a lap.
Jeez.
Towards it, and it's just like, well, what's the point? You know, that's two laps and you've already cost yourself a pit stop.
That's crazy. Absolutely crazy. You always got to be on the right tyre at the right time. That's rule number 1 for wet weather driving, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. Well, that and don't bitch about it, just get on with it.
Yeah, that's true. What else did we have? We had Magnussen pitting for slicks. Why was that? Oh, Magnussen was the first person to pit for slicks.
He was the first one. I would just say prior to that though, Hamilton was setting fastest laps consistently. Ricciardo was kind of keeping pace, but we were all going like, where the hell has Red Bull's pace gone?
So where had Red Bull's pace gone then?
Yeah, I think it went out in turn 1.
Well, there are reports that Ricciardo had gearbox problems all the way through that race.
Yeah, at one point they were like they weren't sure the car would finish.
Yeah.
In fact, does this gearbox have to do a race next time out? I'm not sure, but it's highly likely someone's getting a 5-place penalty next time out. Actually, if you don't finish the race, do you have to take the gearbox penalty?
Isn't it classed as a unit anyway?
I'm just thinking because in that case, then Raikkonen and Vettel and Verstappen are all taking new fucking gearboxes.
Well, yeah, they're going to have to, aren't they? I'm pretty sure they've destroyed them.
I think that's almost a given, yeah. Certainly Vettel's and Raikkonen's.
Yes, yeah, definitely. So Magnussen was the first one to jump onto the slicks. Any other driver, maybe Grosjean, I think he would have binned it in the wall. Yeah, maybe Grosjean would have binned it in the wall, but Magnussen felt there was a crossover and they were just reaching it. And I think it was maybe a lap or two just too soon. Massa I just want
to say this about Magnussen. It's quite interesting over the last few races. He's kind of developed a bit of a personality all of a sudden, hasn't he?
Magnussen, yeah. It's as if he needs to develop a personality to thrive in this, because people are calling him the bad boy now,
which is an appalling nickname. But just the way he's been driving, it's fair play. When he was having that ding dong with Ocon and Massa, I think it was.
Yeah,
that was just like that man was not taking any prisoners.
No, he wasn't. No. And there was some wheel rubbing there as well, especially with Massa, wasn't it? They ended up bumping wheels a little bit. At one point, he pushed Ocon almost into the wall.
When he came down the on the wet, off the line coming into, I think it was turn 8, and he came from nowhere and he managed to do it, and it was just like, holy shit!
Yeah. So yeah, he's. Am I a fan of him? Do you know, I don't think I am.
Oh, I don't think I'm a fan of him either.
No, I like him, but he's not groundbreaking, is he?
What put him off me a bit was the way him and Hülkenberg were acting back in Spa, was it?
Oh, the suck my balls thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that just kind of put me off.
Oh, I suppose that did put me off a little bit. Although, we've been guilty of moaning about there being no personalities in Formula One, and then he goes and does that, and then
that's not a personality. That's being a cock.
Yeah, that's the thing. You got to balance up, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just don't be a dick. I do believe the international phrase is.
Yes.
So. But yeah, it was good to see him going for it, shall we say? I thought he did all right this race, actually.
Oh yeah, I mean, he did better than Grosjean.
Yeah, that's right. Ericsson spinning his car, lap 38. Bear in mind, we're just over halfway on this race.
We already knew at this point it was going to be a timed race.
Yeah.
So again, just if you're not paying attention. races either run to their length or to a maximum of 2 hours.
Yep.
So we knew we'd come to the 2 hour mark before we reached, 62 laps or whatever it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
And then Ericsson crashed. It's like, yeah, it's definitely game over then. And then it was like, we weren't sure if he was going to reverse with his dodgy wheel or what. And Brundle says, if he reversed, I was just going to walk out the commentary box.
The way he slid that car sideways down that bridge, though, was quite impressive. I've never seen that. Never seen that. He caught the curb just going onto the Anderson Bridge.
I think this was the first time someone's actually crashed on the bridge.
Is it? Oh, okay.
I think so.
Yeah, because they had that horrible left, right, left, turn 10 kink. I can't remember what the Singapore sling they called it when it first came out. And that was supposed to straight line everyone going over the bridge because they didn't want overtaking over the bridge because, it's a bridge and there's water underneath it. And so, I suppose this is one of the very first incidents we've had. I think Massa was involved in one at some point, but this was very peculiar. Very peculiar. And then he wiped out the left-hand side of his rear tyres on the wall and quietly just perched his car there.
Yep. I mean, it was really close to a recovery point as well. You could see it. But there was just no way to get the car there. And again, they had to wait for because the cars had been strung out. Only one car had been lapped at that point, Wehrlein, but they had to wait for the train to all form up, which took a while. Because again, everyone dives into the pitch, don't they?
Well, yeah, they do. Yeah, why not as well?
Yeah, but yeah, they finally formed up. Got the car moved away. You had Lewis complaining again about why are you doing safety car, virtual safety car would be fine. It's like, no, mate, no, it wouldn't. Not there, it would not.
Nah, not there. There's 2 lanes on that bridge, and you're lucky to get 2.5 cars over that bridge, aren't you? And that and a truck and work people around you under virtual safety car, that's not going to fly, I don't think.
No, you're going to have a bad day.
I think the safest thing was to throw a safety car, pull everyone in. I get his frustration. He had his hands on the steering wheel and as if he's stuck in a jam on the M25. He was just like, oh, for crying out loud. And I get it. I honestly do get it because he's built up this lead. Remember, he's in a car that shouldn't be in the lead.
No.
Everyone said that he was going to be, at best, 5th. They thought the Ferraris and Red Bulls were going to be in front of him.
Mm-hmm.
And he's in the lead, and I suppose from his point of view, everything's going against him, even though he's lucked into the win, or into the lead. Everything's trying to deny him that win. And so I get it. I get his frustration. Because he did do well to pull out such a lead on Ricciardo and everyone else. He controlled that race. He had no problems with that race whatsoever.
I imagine if Red Bull had said over the radio something about the gearbox, like if they knew that Ricciardo was potentially nursing the car, he wouldn't have been quite as irate.
Yeah. Is that why we didn't hear anything over the radio?
I think it is.
Yeah. Yeah, it could be. It could be, actually. I wonder if they've got a second way of communicating with Ricciardo.
I think if it was not something they could necessarily control or anything like that, they might not have told him. It's like, if... I don't know. Maybe there's something they knew or there was a code. I mean, I know they can flash messages on the steering wheel, can't they?
I don't know. I haven't seen any flash on there. I'm sure that it would have been highlighted at some point. But I've never seen any flashed on the steering wheel.
Oh, well. Who knows? But anyway, I think if he knew that they were nursing that car, he probably wouldn't have been in such a hurry all the time to build that lead and be pushing so much. But still, I mean, he did. I mean, again, I don't know how much was bravado or truthfulness. He did say that he knew he could win in the rain. So
Yeah.
Evidence would seem to support that.
That's right. And so the safety car comes in, and that's it. It's just a trundle to the very end. They broke the 2-hour barrier, and Hamilton came round and crossed the line with 4 seconds to go. So then you have to complete another full lap before then the final checkered flag can be thrown.
Before you get to that, though, there was two particular retirements I think worth mentioning.
Okay.
Hulkenberg, who during the safety car period came into the pits and apparently was being topped up with engine oil because his car had an oil leak. And I've always thought it's a very bad idea to have a Formula One car circulating, dropping slippery fluids. But still, it was funny. They were basically a hand pump trying to top it up.
Yeah.
But then he had to go. And then Magnussen, they suddenly came on the radio telling him to slow down and stop the car because he had an MGUK failure.
Yes.
So just thought those two were worth mentioning because they'd been quite impressive up until that point.
Yeah.
I mean, at one point, Hulkenberg was circulating in third. Now, what was the record he broke this week? I think it's the longest time in Formula One without a podium.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Previously owned by Adrian Sutil.
Yeah. So, congratulations to that man. Well done, sir.
Yeah. Still, it's a better title to have than the Nick Heidfeld Award for the most consistent times finishing a Grand Prix without scoring a point.
Yeah.
Anyway, getting back to what you were saying, it took about 3 laps before they actually figured out when it was the final lap.
Yeah, it was a little confusing, and the commentators were saying, "Oh yeah, he's coming around to win." Oh no, not this time round. That's quite confusing. Maybe in another 2 minutes. Yes, let's read the rule book and just confirm on what's actually going on. Because it doesn't happen that often, does it? Hitting the 2-hour barrier.
I think it only ever happens here.
Yeah, this is the only one that it's likely to happen. I think it happened in America, in Phoenix, in the early 90s. One of the ones I can remember. A couple others because of rain, but yeah, I think this is brushing the 2-hour barrier anyway on a dry, no safety cars. On just a bog standard race. So, yeah, always get a safety car here, though, mate. Always get a safety car. Always get a safety car. 100% record. That's right.
10 races run, 10 safety car periods. In each race, basically.
Yeah. So we end up with Hamilton winning the race. So congratulations to that man there.
You wouldn't have thought that a week ago, would you?
No.
Or
honestly.
would you?
I wouldn't. I wouldn't. No, clearly I wouldn't.
No, clearly you didn't.
Clearly. God damn it. We'll get to that in a minute, young man. We'll get to that in a minute. One other thing that was interesting during this race, Mercedes asked Hamilton to bunch up the grid after the Ericsson.
After the safety car, after Ericsson's safety car. They wanted to get rid of the possibility of Ricciardo having a free pit stop.
Yeah.
To which Lewis says, I'm uncomfortable doing that.
Yeah.
And then they said, okay, fine, you do you.
Yeah.
You do you, Lewis.
Can I just cast your mind back to Abu Dhabi 2016 where Hamilton was bunching the grid up, trying to get Nico Rosberg down the grid a little bit. Applying pressure on him, and he was quite happy to bunch things up there, and the team were asking him to stretch out a little bit. How times have changed.
Oh yes.
Yeah. I know it's a totally different situation, but it's needs must when it matters most, isn't it? And
yes.
That day in 2016, Hamilton wanted it bunched up. Today, he didn't feel comfortable doing that, so he wanted to stretch his lead a little bit. Yeah, interesting. But, that's just speculation on my part, I feel. The conspiracy hat is on.
Far be it from us to comment on that sort of thing.
Yeah, my tinfoil hat is firmly on, mate. It really is.
Surprised you've got any tinfoil left.
Oh, yeah, no. If you want to know about that, listen to the Black Dog podcast. Okay, so Hamilton has won his 60th Grand Prix of his career. Congratulations to him. He wins. Daniel Ricciardo was second. Just under 5 seconds behind, 4.5 seconds behind. Valtteri Bottas was third. Very quiet he was. He was very quiet during the race.
He was not having a fun race. I mean, I think he said in the cool down room he couldn't get the rears to grip.
Yeah.
I will say as well, Lewis, it's his third win on the bounce.
Yes, it is. Yeah. Yeah, he's almost looking to shoe in for this championship, isn't he? Just you almost said the T word there, didn't you? Did I?
Almost.
Did I?
Well, I could hear it coming.
Oh, okay. Okay. Carlos Sainz was fourth in a very respectable position there, ahead of
yes.
Sergio Perez in the Force India. Jolyon Palmer, sixth. This must be a typo. It surely must be a typo. He's been kicked out of Renault and now puts in a stellar performance. Oh no, that's right.
I'm sure I'm entirely sure it's nothing to do with the fact that Kevin Magnussen, Nico Hülkenberg, Marcus Ericsson, Danny Kvyat, Fernando Alonso, Sebastian Vettel, Max Verstappen, and Kimi Räikkönen all failed to finish.
That's it. Yeah, if we put
it's nothing to do with that at all.
No, not one bit. But let's keep his little pecker up a little bit longer. Yeah, I'm sure he's at home with his mum and dad, sat round the dinner table with his bib on, going, "I was 6, Daddy. I'm a whole 6."
You're going to have the entire Palmer family looking to kill you after this.
Yeah. And his dad ruffling his hair and saying, "Oh, you're so good. You're so good, Jolyon." Stoffel Van Dorn was 7th, Lance Stroll was 8th, Romain Grosjean 9th, and Esteban Ocon was in 10th position. Felipe Massa, who had a torrid time, was all over the place, changed wets and inters and stuff like that, and banged wheels with many people, was 11th and didn't score a single solitary point. And the last runner classified was Pascal Wehrlein in the Sauber, who was 12th. There we go.
Did you say classified?
Classified? Yeah, classified.
Okay.
Glass. What, you don't say glass, do you?
No, I say glass. I say classified.
Oh, okay. Well, I say classified. What's your beef?
Nothing, just merely observing.
Okay. I'm going to run down the drivers. You can do the constructors. Or the constructors. I don't know how you say that now.
Okay. Incidentally, with the drivers, where does Phil Massa come?
I don't know. I haven't got it written down here. Have you got the full length?
No, I was just saying Phil Massa because I know how much you like that.
Oh, screw you. You. Drivers. Kimi Räikkönen is in 5th position with 138 points. Daniel Ricciardo is 4th with 162 points. Valtteri Bottas is 3rd with 212 points. Sebastian Vettel is 2nd in the drivers' standings with 235 points. And Lewis Hamilton is top of them all in 1st position with 263 points.
More than a race win ahead.
That's right, yes, for the first time.
Yes. Constructors in 5th with 59 points is a Williams Mercedes. Then there's a bit of a gap to Force India with 124. And then Red Bull with 230. Ferrari with 373. And miles ahead, let's face it, they pretty much got this one all sewn up at this point. Over 100 points is Mercedes with 475.
Blimey.
I don't see any of that changing between now and the end of the season, if I'm honest.
Do you see any of it changing? Any in drivers' championship standings as well, or what?
Potentially. I mean, I don't see it changing outside of. I mean, okay, if Bottas really goes off for Boyle and Ricciardo gets some really solid results, I can potentially see that change, maybe.
Yep.
And again, Vettel and Hamilton, we know from last year, all it takes is one dodgy engine, a DNF, and that could turn, on its head. just like that. So I don't think we've seen the end of the fight for the Drivers' Championship. But that being said, this was Mercedes' weakest circuit. Yeah. And they walked away with maximum points, effectively. You know, he scored 25 points over Vettel here. Yeah. What we knew was going to be his weakest race.
It couldn't have gone any better for him.
I mean, there's 6 races left?
Yep.
If Hamilton just comes second in every race, does that mean he's done it? I think it might.
I don't know if it's that close just yet.
Well, it's 7 points difference between...
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not quite there, but, you know, one more win, and then effectively he's just has to finish second every race.
Yeah, we're getting close to that point, aren't we? Where we start just tallying up the points.
Mm-hmm.
Right, talking about tallying up the points, our predictions for this race. So, do you remember what you predicted? Because, you know, my contract stipulates I have to ask that question.
Well, I know what you did for the qualifying in the race.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I know what I did.
Okay, so for the qualifying, you predicted Ricciardo for pole position. Where did he started third, didn't he? So yeah, nowhere near.
Was it third or was he fourth?
He was third.
Okay, yeah, because Kimi was fourth. Yeah,
that's right.
Yes,
I predicted Vettel, so I get a big fat star. Or
yay! You get a point.
A point, yes. I haven't had a point for yonks.
One point.
When was my last point? Hungary. Hungary was my last point. Wow. For the race, you predicted Hamilton for the win. I predicted Ricciardo for the win. So well done you, sir. Well done you. 1 big point. And for
at least you didn't go with Vettel for the win.
Yeah, well, you were going to go for Ricciardo, weren't you? So
I was.
I don't think I would have gone for Hamilton. I would have gone for Vettel if I hadn't gone for Ricciardo, but I wanted Ricciardo. So anyway, third column, we went for safety cars. And you predicted no safety cars.
Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking there.
I predicted 1 safety car. Now, did we say nearest the pin?
I don't think we did, because if we went nearest to pin, I would have definitely gone with 2.
But
you can have a point.
You're going to give me that point, aren't you?
I'm going to give you it.
Yeah, you are. Well, yeah, I'm going to give myself that point anyway. But yeah, you're going to give me that point. So I end up with 1 point for that. Excellent. So I come away with 2 points on that race.
Hey, well done, you. Tossing your little hair.
Yeah. Old Jolyon Palmer, etc. So now, at the end of that race, I have 11 points, and you have 20 points.
Still all to play for, then?
Yeah. I feel like Ferrari, and you're Mercedes, and you're just somehow just edging it out.
I don't think that's entirely fair. If anything, you were more Red Bull this year.
Yeah. Oh, okay, so there we go. Well done, sir. Well done for your 1 dastardly point. So next time we're out, it is Malaysia.
The last Malaysian Grand Prix for the foreseeable future, yes.
Yes, it is, yeah. So they haven't got a contract beyond this year, have they? It's been dropped in favour of France.
Yep, it has been dropped. I'll give you some stats. The 2016 race, pole position was one Mr. L. Hamilton. The podium was Danny Ricciardo from Max Verstappen from Nico Rosberg, with Rosberg setting the fastest lap. In terms of most wins, we've had someone called John McDonald won it 4 times in the 70s.
That sounds like a made-up name.
It does, but I'm going to show you. Where's he from? From Hong Kong. There you go. Anyway, Sebastian Vettel has won at this circuit 4 times. Michael Schumacher and Fernando Alonso have both won 3 times. And Kimi Raikkonen's won twice.
Oh, interesting.
And Ferrari have won 7 constructors here. Red Bull have won 4. And McLaren and Renault 2 apiece. So, bit of a Mercedes bogey circuit here by the looks of things.
Yeah.
As you recall, last time out, Lewis was in the lead when his engine went pop.
It certainly did, yes. I forget what happened with Nico Rosberg that race.
I just don't think Rosberg... he had a 10-second penalty for causing an avoidable collision. That was with Vettel at turn 1.
Mm-hmm.
And that caused Rosberg to spin and got into the back of the grid.
Ah, okay.
Yes, I remember that now.
Right. Okay, so predictions for this race. Am I going first again because I'm so far behind?
Oh, go on then.
What? No, you're more than welcome to, since you're leading.
No, I'm quite happy for you to do it. Like I said, man, at this point, I could just pick Palmer for everything between now and the end of the season. I'd still be pretty confident.
Oh, screw you. Honestly, screw you. Right, Hamilton, pole position. There we go.
You're going Hamilton on pole, are you?
Yeah, who are you going for?
Who am I going to go for? I'll go with Verstappen.
Verstappen?
Yeah.
Okay, and for the race, I'm going to go with Vettel.
Oh, I'm going to go Lewis then.
You're going to Hamilton, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was an easy one for me to go for, but, is he going to win 4 in a row? Is he?
He did last year, didn't he?
Oh, stop it. Stop throwing these stats that are fact at me. Stop it. Okay.
Fake news.
Third tier, what would you like on this? This is I like the Malaysia circuit. I've grown to like it. I don't think I liked it in the very beginning.
Mm-hmm.
But I've grown to like it. I'm trying to think of something interesting that happens around Malaysia. Safety, no, we've done the safety car thing. What about who's gonna finish ahead between the Renaults?
Must no contest. It's Hulkenberg unless he breaks down. Or do you mean all the Renault running cars?
No. Just the Renaults. Just the Renaults. Should we go for that, or should we go for something else?
Let's go for something else, because whoever ends up picking Palmer's lost. Even if he's head, they've had to have chosen Palmer, and that's no one wants to have to do that.
All right then. So, grid penalties. How about that?
Are we talking how many cars are going to have grid penalties, or how many places in total are going to be lost? Because last time out, Fernando Alonso had 45. Which is quite difficult considering there was only 22 starters last time. That's
amazing. I love them stats. I really do. I don't want these grid penalties to disappear at all. I reckon
that was your history's greatest monster.
Yeah. Total grid penalties throughout the whole grid issued.
So like how many places? Total?
Yeah, total. Nearest to pin as well?
Sure.
Okay. I will go for, hang on. So what we got here? We got, I reckon, I'm going to go 20. I'm going to go 20.
And it's nearest to pin, yeah?
Yeah.
21.
21. You fucking playing the game. Playing the game all the time. I wonder if you're in the lead. Okay, right, there we go. Grid penalties.
Come on, McLaren, don't let me down now.
Yeah, the only time you want McLaren to fail. The only time. So,
yeah.
That's it then, I suppose. Until 2 weeks' time for the Malaysian Grand Prix. Looking forward to it?
Yeah, I enjoy the Malaysian Grand Prix as a rule.
Yep.
It's, was it, again, 2010, I think, when it was that wet one?
It was 2009. That was Jenson Button's one where he won. Yeah.
Half points and all that, wasn't it? Yeah. But, that aside, I've generally enjoyed it. Mm-hmm. I love the two straights with a little hairpin at the end of them.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to this race.
Yeah, I especially liked the one where Perez made a name for himself, where I think he was leading for a little while, and then Alonso overtook him towards the very end. Ended up coming second in a Sauber.
Wow.
So yeah, that was when Perez put himself on the market. So yeah, I think the first couple of races I wasn't impressed, but I've grown to like the circuit. I don't love it. I've grown to like it. I don't think I'll miss it once it's gone though.
No, I agree with you there. Especially since we have Singapore, like we've got a little bit from that part of the world now. So, other places potentially which could benefit from one. I mean, if you had to choose between the Singapore circuit and Malaysia, which one would you rather have?
Singapore.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, no questions. I've always liked this circuit, apart from that dodgy corner that they've got rid of now. So, yeah, Malaysia. I think it's a solid track, but sometimes uneventful.
Yeah.
So yeah, I could give or take it. I'm not going to miss it. But yeah, it's been solid for us. So there we go. So that's in 2 weeks' time then.
Oh yes.
So, before that 2 weeks' time, though, I'm sure there are other times where you guys are listening to podcasts right now, and you're intelligent people. So why not listen to other podcasts? Because me and Andy do other podcasts as well. Why not try out some other podcasts in that time? I'm sure we have any. Andy, do you have any that these wonderful listeners can listen to?
Of course. You can listen to me and Mr. McManus gush about Easy Company during the Second World War on the Band of Brothers podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Just did a particularly awesome episode. So highly recommend you go and watch all of that series and then follow along with us. I think we've got, 3 left to go?
Yeah, I think we're 3 down. 3 to go, and then that's it. We're out.
Yeah, 3 to go. Got something exciting planned to do next after that. We won't spoil that, but I'm looking forward to that as well.
Yep.
And you can also catch me on Space Dock Jury, which is on the internet and iTunes and Google it and all those good places where we argue about spaceships.
Excellent. You can also catch me on the Black Dog Podcast, which is blackdogpodcast.com. We're a film review show, so pop along there if you like films and stuff and listen to 4 idiots talk about films. You can also grab me on the Shonky Lab, which is shonkylab.com. And I think the next episode I'm going to be doing is Old Men Shout at Clouds Part 2, where I'm going to be getting 2 of my buddies and we just moan about certain things in life. There is a part 1 out there somewhere that we did over a year ago now, which I'm surprised at. So it was only supposed to be 6 months in between these 2 gaps, but it's over a year now. So pop along there, find all the other episodes. There's over 100 of them episodes there. So if you like listening to me and other people talk about random topics, then pop it over there and give it a listen. Also, I would encourage you guys, please, if you have 5 minutes, just go along to iTunes, give us a review on there, because it does help us up a magical ladder that will give us into it, open and expose us to other people who might be interested in Formula 1 and Grand Prix and the reviews of the races. So please pop along there if you would like to. Thank you very much. Until then, I'm going to say goodbye. So thank you very much. Goodbye. Thank you, Andy, for joining me today.
You're welcome, sir.
And we'll catch you guys next time out for the Malaysian Grand Prix. Till then, bye-bye.
Ta-ra.
That move for 6 might be coming on the Renault. Okay, we'll keep an eye on that, especially if October's got a problem, because 2.8 has become 1.9 in the space of a lap. So that's going to happen, isn't it?